गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. ओम. we discuss. Let us discuss the 6th chapter of Gita today, being Sunday. Okay. In the Arjuna asked a question: what will be the fate of a person who could not complete his meditation, and the result of meditation is jnanam? If he doesn't get the complete jnanam as a result of his meditation, because he could not complete the meditation, because while doing he felt that something obstructing him, because for doing any good thing there will always be some disturbance, always will be some obstacles on the way. So some obstacle, either this world, obstacles from this world, from the surroundings, or from his own weakness of mind, or due to some past karma. Okay, sometimes the past karma also obstructs. Whatever the reason, he could not complete his nididhyasana and gain jnana. Now what will be his fate? The question is, will he be totally destroyed? Will he be totally destroyed? That is the question he puts it. Bhagavan Krishna answers no, he won't be. For a person who is doing good thing, good in the sense, the Arjuna's question was, he has given up karma and took to sannyasa. A person who has taken to sannyasa having given up karma means the rituals, punya karmas, and he engages his mind only in Vedanta, Adhyayana, Chintana and meditation. Yet he could not do, and he says that very Vairagya itself brings a lot of punya. Okay? It is the very Vairagya, the very Nididhyasana itself is not an ordinary karma. Even that is a great karma. Therefore, Kalyanakrit, a person whoever does some good thing, something good karma, because dhyanam is also a great thing. Because ಪಾಪ್ಯ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೃತಾಂ ಲೋಕಾನ್ ಶಿತ್ವಾ ಶಾಶ್ವತಿ ಸಮ. ಏಕೆಂದರೆ ಮುಂದಿನ 46 ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಪ್ಪ, ಐ ಗಾಟ್ ಎ ರಾಂಗ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ ದ 46 ಶ್ಲೋಕ, on the last shloka, and he says, tapasvibhyodiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodikah karmibhyaschadiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. You are doing dhyana, appa. Even if you don't do your ritual karma, the very vairagya, everything you have given up itself brings a lot of punya. Therefore, prapya punyakritam lokan. So a person who is engaged in yoga marga, see, yoga marge pravrittah sannyasi samarthyat punyakrutam lokan vishitva shashva prapya gatva punyakrutam ashwamedha yaginam lokan. A person who does the ashwamedha yaga, what is that loka he attains? He attains brahmaloka. See, here is an interesting thing. He attains the loka of Ashwamedha Yagi. Ashwamedha Yagi. Therefore, Nididhyasana just as an upasaka, one who does the ahangraha upasana, saguna brahma upasana, he will attain brahmaloka. But here it is a strange thing. Person who has started his nididhyasana, he left all karmas and upasanas and doing his nididhyasana not with an intention to go to brahmaloka. He has no intention to go to brahmaloka. He is doing nididhyasana but could not do because there were some obstacles. Yet he will get a highest loka, that is brahmaloka. How is that? So here it is an interesting thing. A person who does upasana with an intention to go to brahmaloka, he will get brahmaloka. But the nididhyasana, a person who is doing nididhyasana, not doing upasana, not interested in brahmaloka. Not doing upasana, not interested in brahmaloka, doing only nididhyasana, even such a person will get brahmaloka. Here one may ask, generally brahmaloka is attained as a result of upasana. Okay, as a result of upasana he should go. But he is not doing upasana, one thing. Second is, he is not interested in brahmaloka because he has not aimed at brahmaloka. How does he? How will he go to brahmaloka? He says, yes. Even then he will go. It's a strange, Bhagavad Gita says, Bhagavan Krishna says, somebody answered. Somebody means one of our gurus, Atmanandendra Swamiji, Sachidanandendra Swamiji's direct disciple. He told me, when I talked to him, he told me personally, a jnani, jnani means a person who is in jnana marga, who is nididhyasana, he will also get brahmaloka, but an upasaka also will get as a brahmaloka. He says, but yet there is a difference. An upasaka will get brahmaloka as an award, as a reward for him. An upasaka will attain brahmaloka as a reward to his upasana, as an honor to his upasana. But a person who is not interested in brahmaloka, doesn't do upasana, but does only nididhyasana, he will also get it because as a consolation prize. As a consolation, because he looked for a higher one, he could not attain higher one, then he is given this lower stage. Somebody told he will go to brahmaloka for his failure to attain jnanam. For his failure to attain jnanam as a consolation. You aimed at higher thing but could not achieve it, though you have tried sincerely. So the idea is a person who aims the highest thing, a highest sadhana, directly Brahma Jnana, but tries sincerely. But he could not make it because that sadhana was not enough. There were some obstacles in the mind and elsewhere. So he could not attain Brahma Jnanam. Yet his life will not go waste. His sadhana will not go waste. That samskara of antarmukhata, nididhyasana, vairagyam, that will remain. So that will give him Brahmaloka. That's why he says, Prapya Punya Krutam Lokan. He will attain, Bhashya says, Yoga Marge Pravruttaha Sannyasi. A sannyasi means who has given up all karma. Yoga Marge Pravrutta, he is engaged in only nididhyasana. Such a person, Samarthyat. On the strength of this, on the strength of his yoga sadhana, on the strength of his sannyasa. Here note it, sannyasa, he has given up karma. Yoga marga, he is engaged in nididhyasana, not upasana. That means both karma and upasana he left out. Yet he will get the result of upasana, highest result of upasana. That means nididhyasana tattva vichara is higher than upasana. That is what it is. Bhagavad Gita says, Upanishads say, nididhyasana, tattva chintana, even simply Vedanta Shravanam is highest, higher than upasana. Do you know that? Vedanta Shravanam, Mananam, Chintanam, because in Vedanta Shravana, your attention is continuously on the Atma and Namarupa is taken to be Mithya. Just like a dream, the whole world is a dream and you are not the body, mind and sense organs. Because you de-identify with the body, with the mind and sense organs. Your attention is always trying to see yourself as a Sakshi, not as a Jnata, not as an individual in the state. Your attention is always not trying to see as an individual in the state, but you as a consciousness in which the whole state is appearing. Okay? So you are the truth of the state, you are not within the state. You are not within the waking state, but you are the existence, the all-pervasive existence. You are the consciousness, all-pervasive consciousness, which is the very truth of the waking state. The entire waking state is yourself. Your individuality, the world, nama, rupa, entire time, space, past, present, future, everything is the Atma. So he has been paying attention to that Atma. Therefore, yoga marge pravrittaha. His attention is continuously there alone. Though he is slipping down, once in a while he slips, continuously is not able to do because certain other prarabdha. See, it is something like a person who aims only on Brahma. Though mind is not able to stay in Brahman continuously, though his mind is elsewhere, but his attention is there alone. I think I have given this example. If a person, you wanted to go to Kashi. So you started from here. You went to the railway station. Train is delayed. Somebody else has come and you are talking to him. Though you are talking to him, sitting there, waiting for the train, your subconscious mind is there, you are in Kashi. You are going to Kashi. You are going to Kashi. Okay? So, though you are delayed here, your mind is already in Kashi. Because that aim is there, strong aim. Your strong aim that you want to be Brahman and nothing less than Brahman. Even this mind and the body and sense organs, I don't want to remain in this limited state. I don't want to remain in this cage of body and mind, sense organs. I want to become free. Your aim, your goal is only in Brahma. But unable to do because there are certain other distractions, other disturbances. In spite of disturbances, your attention is there alone. That's why yoga marge pravrittaha. You are in the yoga marga, given up all other karmas. You are not doing any karma. Yet, the very sannyasa itself is more. See, two things are there. One is doing a karma, good karma with all shraddha and bhakti. Second is, you have no interest in karma phala. However great the karma is, you are not interested in karma. The very vairagya with the karma phala. The very vairagya with the karma phala itself makes you much better person. Because in the next shloka he is going to say, Jignasu rapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Jignasu rapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. 44th shloka, see. (46) 44 Jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahma ativartate. Even when you are a strong jignasu, you become shabda brahma ativartate. You transcend karma. That means karma phala looks small for you. Your attention is what is beyond karma and karma phala. Okay? What is self-existing? what is beyond the cause and effect relationship, what is self-existing, what is beyond the cause and effect relationship. You want to be in that truth. Okay? Therefore, when your attention is there, that very attention itself helps you to transcend karma. So your qualification, your status becomes higher than this. Therefore, yoga marge pravritta, you are engaged in that very vairagya. You are not interested in karma phala. You are not interested in worldly pleasures. Therefore, yoga marge pravritta punyakrutam ashwamedha lokan vishitva. He will go to a loka. After the death of the body, he will go to the loka. Punyakrutam lokan ashwamedhadi yajinam. Punyakrut means among the punya, what is the highest punya? Ashwamedha yaga is the highest punya. Therefore, you will attain the world of a highest punya, that is Brahmaloka. Okay? Vishitva. There, how will you go? Will you go just for a short while? No. He says, Anubhuya Shashwati Samah. For a long time he will live there. That means he will get Brahmaloka for a very, very long time. Sammatsara hatad bhogakshaye. As a result of living his Brahmaloka, in between there was a disturbance. This internet disturbance is always a problem. Okay. So after living in Brahmaloka for a long time, means Brahmaloka means when you leave the body, your mind being continuously having vairagya for the worldly things, and your mind is always, attention is always in Brahman alone. That attention, nirantara mumukshutvam, the very thought of moksha, the very thought of Brahma, though you have not intuited Brahma, yet the very thought of Brahma, the aim of Brahma itself produces lot of punya. Vairagyam, not interested in the worldly life and aiming at Brahma. So that very aim of Brahma and detachment for the worldly things itself brings about lot of punya. Therefore, Shachinam Shrimatam Gehe. Then after that, after living in Brahmaloka for a long time, in the next Janma, he will be born in such people. Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe. He will be born in a family of rich people. At the same time, Shuchinam Yathokta Karinam. A people who follow the Shastras. That means who follows the noble values. A family which lives the life of values, life of dharma, and Shraddha Bhakti, means people of Dharmatma. He will be born in the family of Dharmatmas and also rich. Okay? Why richness? Because with richness alone you can do something good to others. Money itself is not bad. Okay? Money is generally condemned because it is not the money. Whenever the money is condemned, it is not the money. It is your interest in the money. It is our attachment with the money. It is our what you call abhimana for the money that is condemned. But money itself is a useful thing. Money is something which you can help people. You can get the things. You can honor the people. You can get the people's cooperation. So it is useful because of its utilitarian value. Money is useful. Therefore, person who has a money can use it for the good of the people, because good person always wants to do something good to others. And what can be done? The best thing that you can do is upakara. A good person always needs material with which he can help others. The best karma one can do is only do upakara to others. Help them, bless them, encourage them, teach them, doing all the things of good things to them. Encourage them to do good things. Remove their sufferings. So, the money is useful in this way to help people when they are in suffering in various ways. Therefore, Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. A Yoga Brashta, an incomplete yogi. An incomplete yogi in his previous life, one, he will go to the highest loka, Brahmaloka. Next, After living the loka for some time, when his karma exhausted there, he will come back. He will come to the Manushya loka, but in Manushya loka he will live in a very noble family, where the parents or even other relatives themselves are dharmatmas. They have a value for moksha, Vedanta or Guru Bhakti and such people. You live in the life of such people. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam etaddi durlabhataram loke janma yadi drusham. Or sometimes happens like this. Or if a person has a little bit of inclination to do something good to others, to have richness, money and all that, but there are certain other people, he will not go to Brahmaloka. And next also, in the next Janma, he will not be born in a rich people's life. He will go straight away in the family where they may be poor people, but they are highly advanced sadhakas. Why sadhakas? Maybe jnanis themselves. He may be next instead of going, because he is not interested. A person who has got a little bit of soft corner towards Brahmaloka may go there. But he is not interested in Brahmaloka. He will not go to Brahmaloka at all, because his Vairagya is much of higher level. Okay? His Vairagya is higher level. He is purely interested in Nididhyasana alone. Such person, instead of going to Brahmaloka, he will be reborn here alone very early. As soon as he leaves the body, he will take next Janma. He won't go to Brahmaloka. Means he won't be delayed. The idea is, he won't be delayed with anything, even if Brahmaloka is a high loka, pure loka. It is not in bhoga, it is not a bhoga parayana loka, it is a pure loka. But even pure loka he is not interested, because his Vairagya is still higher. Okay. Then after, so, and that too, will he be born in a rich people? No. Richness may be there, may not be there, but he won't look for it. He will look for directly jnanis. Some Grihastha Jnani. If there is a Grihastha Jnani, or if he is a highly advanced sadhaka, he will live in yoginam. Therefore, athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam. They are very mature people. Dhimatam yogi. Buddhimatam. So directly he will be born into a yogi's life. But this Janma is very difficult. Difficult means is a rare to find. Rare to find it. Janma yadi drusham. Okay. After attaining the next life, what will he do? What idea is, if I am doing some sadhana now, if my sadhana is incomplete, what will happen to me? Nothing will happen. You will continue. First thing is, you will be treated as a great man, as a noble man, as a saintly person. And then wherever you go, whether you go to the other loka, even if you go to Brahmaloka, you will be different from all other people. Because other people feel proud of living in Brahmaloka, but you won't be proud of it, because your Vairagya is of higher level. You won't feel proud of even Brahmaloka. Worldly pleasures will be there. The worldly means that worldly power will be there. Okay. In Manushya-loka, there will be little pleasure and little suffering, mixed. Manushya-loka, a little pain, little pleasure, both will be there, happiness as well as suffering. In Swarga-loka, there will be enjoyments. In Brahmaloka, more than your personal enjoyments, you will have an enjoyment of helping others. See, there are two types of enjoyment. One is a direct enjoyment. Another is you get a joy in helping others. See the difference? You get a joy in helping others. That is also a kind of a joy. So, in Swargaloka, you get a result of your punya. Therefore, you get direct enjoyments. But in Brahmaloka, your mind is so pure that the very purity itself is a joy. You don't look for enjoyments there. Nobody goes to Brahmaloka for enjoyment. When he goes to Brahmaloka to live the joy of purity, the very purity makes you a joy. See, the very thought of Paramatma, the very living in the company of Paramatma, Saguna Brahma, living in the company of Saguna Brahma, living in the company of saints, that their love and respect, their anugraha. When you think of the Bhagavan's anugraha, that very anugraha gives you great joy. It is not a physical pleasure. It is not even a mental pleasure. It is a deeper joy of a mystic joy. So the Brahmaloka Vasis enjoy the very anugraha alone. Bhagavan loves you, blesses you. The very thought of blessing gives you great joy. And then you will have a power, lot of power, Ashtasiddhis. A person who lives in Brahmaloka will have Ashtasiddhis. So with what will he do with Ashtasiddhis? He will help people. He will bless people. Whoever thinks of him, he will bless them. So he will get a joy of blessing others. He will get a joy of helping others, blessing others. He will give boons to others. That is a thing he will get a joy. He will have a great powers. But that powers, with that power, he gets the power not to enjoy himself. If you want to enjoy yourself, you will go to Swarga. But if you want to help others and get the joy of helping others, you will go to Brahmaloka. See, Brahmaloka is a higher loka. Higher in the sense, you don't go there to enjoy for yourself. You go there only to bless others. So Brahmaloka Vasis become worshipped by others. Swargaloka Vasis enjoy themselves. They enjoy there. Brahmaloka Vasis, they don't enjoy. They give joy to others. That means they become respected and worshipped by others. They enjoy that much. People respect me, worship me, that is their joy. People worship, they become happy. See, people worship me, people respect me, that gives them joy. That's all. And as a result, when others worship him, he will also give them some benefit. So, people's respect to him, thinking of them, respecting them, doing japa, dhyana of them, worshipping them, respecting them itself their joy. That's all. They don't want any other material enjoyments, whether sthula enjoyment or sukshma enjoyment. He won't take interest in enjoyments, but he will enjoy being relaxed, the peace of mind. But when others respect him, he gets a joy in that. Two things he enjoys. He enjoys the Bhagavan's anugraha and other bhaktas' respect for him. That's all. He will be, so by receiving the Bhagavan's anugraha, the Brahmaloka Vasis or Vaikuntha Vasis, when he receives the blessing of Bhagavan, he becomes elated, becomes so happy. When the other bhaktas respect him, he becomes so happy and he starts doing anugraha to others. So then what about his own enjoyment? He doesn't like his own enjoyment. If he wanted his own enjoyment, he would have gone to heaven. He would have gone to Sarga. But he doesn't want his own enjoyment. He wants to give enjoyments to others. And in that thing, he gets his joy. See, this is a subtle, people of higher Vairagyam go to Brahmaloka. That means they don't want to enjoy for themselves. But there is a joy you get when you give it to others. Supposing you have something sweet to eat. And instead of, you can eat and enjoy, but he feels that, see, whenever a person of Vairagya does like this, a person who has a Vairagya, when he gets things to enjoy, he doesn't like to enjoy. He looks for it, I got a beautiful thing, so what would I do? Any enjoyable thing, any comfortable thing, you got a good sofa to sit, very comfortable sofa. You want a very beautiful ornament, you find like a gold ornament. People, those who get an ornament, gold ornament, they feel happy that I got ornament. When they get a house, I got a house, they feel happy. When they got comfortable bed to sleep, they feel happy. Okay? When they get money, they become happy. When they get some sweet to eat, I got a sweet to eat and enjoy happy. But the people of Virakta, those who are fit for Brahmaloka or Vaikuntha or Kailasa, do you know how do they feel with this enjoyment? If he gets something sweet to eat, he doesn't think of eating it. Oh, what a beautiful sweetie, we got it. Whom can I give? Who is the right person? Whom can I give? When you find the best thing, your mind immediately thinks of whom can I give? Yarik kottare channagiruttade. Whom should I give? who is the right person to receive it, he will look elsewhere. Then he finds right person. I got a right person. Abba, I am very happy that I got a person whom I can give, who deserves to take it. You give him, he feels very happy. People say, Ayyo, Gurugale, you are giving away everything to him. He says, if you take it, I am happier. You take it and then I'm happier. So that is a thing, he has got it. So far you give him, instead of sitting for himself, he looks for it. Abba, it's a beautiful sofa, very comfortable. Look for somebody, a person like, come and sit here. You give him and you feel very happy. Somebody is sitting and enjoying that sofa. Somebody is sitting and somebody is sleeping and enjoying the, what you call, a good bed. He'll become happy. When he gets money, he give it away to somebody else. And the other person feels, Abba, how blessing that I got money. He'll become very happy. So any pleasure, any enjoyment, if he receives, he doesn't become happy. He becomes happy. He doesn't think of enjoying it, because enjoyment looks smaller for him. See, there is a two kind of joy. There is a joy of directly enjoying. There is a joy of giving it to others, seeing others become happy, and then you become happy. This is a higher level of happiness. When others are happy, you become happy. So this is a higher happiness, because when you directly enjoy, your sense organs are involved. Your sense organs become happy. Okay? When you feel proud of a property, your abhimana becomes happy. You get a abhimana sukha. Here he doesn't get an abhimana sukha. He gets the sukha of humility sukha. He doesn't get the joy of possessing the property. He gets the joy of giving away the property. He gives away the property to somebody else and he becomes happy. Okay, all this big building you have, you take it and you use it. Okay, I hand it over to you, you use it. He becomes very happy. By giving away the property to others, by giving away the possessions to others, he becomes happy. Not enjoying, because in enjoying, you get sense pleasure. You get abhimana sukha. But here, he gets a more humbler person. Okay? He gets the joy of vairagya. He gets the joy of tyaga. He gets the joy of Bhagavantan anugraha. I become very humble, surrender to Ishvara. I am a bhakta. I enjoy his love and compassion. That's all. I enjoy his love and compassion when I don't own anything. I don't give up. I give up everything. Even I give up a control over myself. I offer myself to Bhagavan. When I give myself to Bhagavan, even Bhagavan is owner of even me. I leave my life, my body, sense organs, everything in the hand of Bhagavan. So whatever happens, I accept it. So he gets a joy in this surrender. He gets a joy in being humble. He gets a joy in accepting whatever comes to him. Okay? Whatever comes, it is Bhagavan's wish. It is Bhagavan's anugraha. So therefore, this joy of a Brahmalokavasi is of a higher level compared to the happiness of Svarga. Therefore, here, this Vedanti who follows Nididhyasana, he gives up. He is not interested in anything. So, Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe, that is the first one. Even in that Nididhyasakas, who incomplete yogis, yoga bhrashta means incomplete yogi. Even among the incomplete yogis, two level. A person who has got a little bit of interest. A person who has got little bit of interest. There you say, when you go to Brahmaloka, you get the power of Brahmaloka. That is, you get a power to bless others. You get a power to be able to bless others. You can give boons to others. That is the power you get when you go to Brahmaloka. So there among the Nididhyasakas, two people are there. Some people get a joy in helping others. Therefore, such people will go to Brahmaloka and help others, bless others. But here is another person. He is still a higher yogi. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam. So this is a second Nididhyasaka. A higher level of Nididhyasaka, he doesn't go to Brahmaloka because he doesn't feel the kick of enjoying that Ashtasiddhi, high yogic powers, and helping others with the yogic powers, he doesn't get any joy in it. He says, I am not interested even in powers. I am not interested even in helping others. Why? Because I am nobody. Therefore, things, see here it is a very subtle thing. A person who with sankalpa tries to help others. Some people get powers and try to help others. Have you seen Ramana Maharshi? If you read life, he has got some powers, but he doesn't feel the power. He doesn't think of helping others and giving boons and etc. If somebody comes to him, he talks of directly Brahma and nothing else. But if you do namaskara to him, automatically things happen. His blessing will do a lot of good things to people. So he doesn't want to consciously use his powers to bless others. He has no sankalpa to help others. Yet automatically things happen. You go and do namaskara to him, you think of him, the blessing will come automatically. So because he doesn't want to feel the power of blessing, also he doesn't want to feel the power. So it will happen automatically, he won't feel it. He won't consciously use his power of blessing. See, some people want to use the power of blessing, power means power of to be able to bless, power to be able to bless others, to be able to grant boons. They are capable of granting boons, blessing others, that power is there. Such people go to Brahmaloka. So a person who has got vairagyam even for Brahmaloka, his nididhyasana, his jnananishta is still higher. His tattva vichara is still higher. That person doesn't even think of having a power to bless others. Okay? Then what happens? He doesn't feel the power. If somebody does namaskara to him, prays to him, things happen automatically by Bhagavan's wish. He doesn't wish, he doesn't make even sankalpas. Once he was asked, he fell sick, he developed some pain here in some wound in his left hand. And then operation was done and then some bandage was made. People looking at him were crying, his bhaktas, and they asked him, Bhagavan, you bless many people. Why don't you make a sankalpa? This will be healed. You make one sankalpa, all this will be healed. You know what he says? Sankalpave baruttillave, what am I to do? Yen madali? And he says, you make one sankalpa, Bhagavan, this your wound will be healed in no time. He says, sankalpane baruttilla. I don't get any sankalpa, I don't get any wish at all. What am I to do? Whatever happens, let it happen. Even if there is a pain, let it be their pain. He doesn't even think of it. Therefore, so people who go to Brahmaloka want to feel the power to be able to bless others. They get a joy in blessing. See, that is also great. There we have already compared with a Swargaloka and Brahmaloka. See the three levels. One is joy of Swargaloka, joy of Brahmaloka. Another is still beyond it. A person who goes to Brahmaloka as a result of his punya want to enjoy it for himself. A person who goes to Brahmaloka, he is capable of giving Swarga to others, but he himself doesn't enjoy Swarga because he is not interested. He is capable of giving boons to others, capable of blessing others, but he doesn't enjoy. So there he gets a joy only in blessing and helping others. Helping others itself is a joy. Why enjoy your own power? Therefore, people, those who have Ashtasiddhi, they don't enjoy their siddhis at all. They don't enjoy their siddhis. They enjoy their siddhis only when they help others, bless others. But there is a still higher one. He is a yogi, much more virakta. He has got a greater vairagyam. He doesn't want to go to Brahmaloka, doesn't want to feel the powers also. Other people may feel that he has got all powers, like people, bhaktas who went to Ramana Maharshi, they had a lot of experiences appearing in the dream and many things. And people say, Bhagavan, you appeared to me in my dream, you advised me, you have blessed me, my roga is healed. It doesn't say anything, he will sit silently. Ramana Maharshi would sit silently as if nothing happened. So he has been appearing in dream, he has been blessing people, he is guiding people, he is healing people. It doesn't even think that he is healing. Thing happens automatically, as if sun is giving the light, not consciously giving the light. Sun doesn't even think of giving a light, that I have got a light, that I should give it to people, people need it. It doesn't have even that thought. Oh, but it is a good one, it is a great help, it is a great job, it is a great blessing to society. It may be blessing to them, but he doesn't think that I am blessing them. I am naturally like anybody else, I am just sitting, that's all. People, from the people's standpoint, they receive the blessing. From his standpoint, he is not even conscious that he is blessing others. See, what a vairagya. A Brahmaloka Vasi who has got Ashtasiddhis, he becomes conscious of those powers and consciously does sankalpa to help others. Okay? He is conscious of powers. He makes a sankalpa to bless others. But still a Vedanti, a higher Virakta, he doesn't even feel the power. He doesn't even think of blessing others. But they will receive the blessing. Those who come to him, do namaskara, they receive the blessing. But he is not even conscious of that. Because he just remains as a Brahma. That's all. He has no thought. He has no thought, no sankalpa. No sankalpas arise in him. No dreams. He doesn't dream. He doesn't have sankalpas, dreams, wishes, etc. He just remains. He just remains as a sakshi. That's all. It doesn't do anything, doesn't think of anything. But automatically blessing happens to people. See, this is a higher one. So, consciously you offer and get a joy of giving. Another is you are not consciously giving. People receive it on their own. He is not even conscious that he is blessing people. He has no conscious thought of blessing people. What a beautiful thing. If you look at Ramana Maharshi, you only see directly Brahma. Nothing but Brahma in an embodied form. Satchidanandam Brahma, Advaitam Brahma in an embodied form. He has no thought of anything. Not even to bless others, not even to lead others, not even to guide others. Therefore, doesn't even he answer also. Those who people come, will just come and sit in front of him. It doesn't. When people ask questions, many a time he would answer sometimes he won't answer even that. He just sits. Doesn't even answer. But those who put questions, do namaskara and sit there, people question, he won't even answer. In a few seconds or a half minute or 1 minute, they'll get the answer themselves. They will do namaskara, Bhagavan, I got your answer, they say. How? He doesn't even give the answer. He doesn't even bless. Blessing happens. Like water comes on it, Nadi flows on its own. Sun gives its light on its own. Unconsciously, not unconsciously, but without any conscious thought, we can say. Not unconsciously, he is conscious, but no conscious sankalpa. Therefore, athava yoginameva bale divatam. Therefore, then, or he will not go to Brahmaloka. His vairagya is of high type. He wants Brahma and nothing but Brahma. So, little bit he is stuck. His nididhyasana is incomplete. He is nearly Brahma, nearing to Brahma Jnanam. Such person, he will take in the next Janma directly into he won't go to Brahmaloka, he will directly take next Janma. And in the next Janma, he will be in highly advanced sadhakas, or directly a Gruhastha Brahmajnanis are there, he will take birth there. He will take birth there in such people's house. So, tatra, athava, some people, those who pray for God, we want such a good son, etc. Those who do lot of sadhana, japa, puja, etc. They pray to Bhagavan, we want a great Mahatma to be born to us. You give us a great Mahatma as a child to us. So, they will be born to such people. As a blessing, they will be born to some people. They will be born to that family as a blessing. So, right from childhood, you can see him, his thinking, his way of life, everything is different. Unusually, he will be like others. He will not be interested in worldly pleasures. You can see such people even in childhood days, they will be simply detached, not interested in money. Their play is also like Ishvara's Leela. So, tatratam buddhi sanyogam. So, any sadhaka, any nididhyasana, whether he is a karma yogi or even jnana yogi or nididhyasana, is sannyasi, anybody, if he has not completed his yoga siddhi in this life, in the next life, when he takes the next janma, what happens? Tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam. There he gets the connection with his past janma samskara. That means wherever he left his sadhana, that nididhyasana, karma yoga or tattva vichara or nididhyasana, whichever he has been doing in his past janma, that will wake up. That will wake up in this life. In his mind, that will wake up, and he will start continuing from there where he left out. It is something like you have been writing. When you have been writing in a half sentence, something suddenly current goes off. Or some baby, somebody comes and disturbs you. What will you do? You leave the pen. After a while, once they go away, the baby goes away, when the current comes back, you continue the sentence. Where you left, from there you continue. Similarly, tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam. He says there that yogi in his next janma, labhate paurvadehikam. So purvadehikam, the samskara of his purva janma, the samskara, the maturity, the vairagyam, whatever you had in previous janma, that will continue here. That will come to you automatically without any effort. The idea is, see, punya can be exhausted. See the difference. Papa, if you enjoy, the result of papa is dukkham. The result of punya is sukham, happiness. When you enjoy the dukkham, papa will be exhausted. When you enjoy the happiness, punyam will be exhausted. But tattva jnana, that is a growth, spiritual growth. Sattvika guna will not be exhausted. Remember that. Sattvika guna, antarmukhata, vairagyam, this spiritual growth, shama, dama, indriya nigraha, mano nigraha, by living that indriya nigraha, mano nigraha for some time, it won't be exhausted. Why? You may ask, why this adhyatmika, the result of adhyatmika sadhana will not be exhausted like karma phala? See the difference? The punya karma phalam will be exhausted by enjoying it. Okay. Because punya phalam is a result of karma. As a result of enjoyment, it will go away. But adhyatmika phalam, adhyatmika sadhana phalam is not like punya phalam. It is not something to be exhausted by enjoyment, because it is a growth. Just like a small tree is there. You sow a seed, it will grow into a seedling, ankura. That ankura will grow into a plant. Now, can the growth will go and will you go back to that ankura stage? If a baby grows to 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, by doing something, will you go back to 5 years old boy? You won't go back. Similarly, adhyatmika sadhana is not a karma phalam. The result of adhyatmika sadhana is an inner maturity, inner growth. Maturity cannot be exhausted. Growth cannot be exhausted by enjoyment, because growth is not a karma phalam. Okay. Growth is not like a karma phalam. Karma phalam, after enjoyment, will go away, you will go back to the old state. Money can be exhausted, but wisdom cannot be exhausted. See the difference. The wisdom, can wisdom be exhausted? You have got a kshama guna, you have got a compassion, kindness. By showing your kindness, by being kind-hearted, by being loving and compassionate and blessing, do you think after some time you will start becoming cruel and kindness will be exhausted? Kindness is the nature of Atma. Adhyatmika growth, spiritual growth is the nature of Atma. So, when you grow, when you detach from the body, mind and sense organs, when you grow towards your Atma, Sakshi Bhava, that Sakshi Bhava cannot be exhausted, because it is not a result of Punya Karma. Because it is your very nature. Nature cannot be exhausted. It is yourself. What is your nature is naturally there. It is not a result of something. Okay. Therefore, it cannot be exhausted. It remains all the time. Therefore, in the next janma, when the suitable atmosphere, because the suitable atmosphere is required. Body, mind, you need a suitable body. Suppose you, a Brahma Jnani, a Nididhyasaka, a sadhaka who is doing Nididhyasana, he could not complete that jnanam, he could not become complete Brahma Jnana. Suddenly some karma happened and his life ended. And instead he has to get the Manushya Janma alone is possible to continue that Nididhyasana. But instead of that he got some animal Janma. Like Jadabharata story is there in Bhagavata and Vishnu Purana. Jadabharata was a good yogi in his Purva Janma and he is doing Nididhyasana. But in a last minute, what you say, a jinke, a deer, a baby, a deer baby, he took pity because the mother passed away, the baby is too small, there is nobody. He took pity. Because of the pity, he has to take a next jinke janma. He has to take a janma of a deer. He took it. There he cannot do Nididhyasana. Because Jinka Janma, the Janma of an animal is not suited to that. Therefore you have to take Manushya Janma or even higher than Manushya. Some Sarga or Brahmaloka. Okay. So next Janma he will take Brahmaloka and there your body will be highly pure body. That's why the pure family alone you select it. The body has to be purer because you have to continue your Nididhyasana. Therefore, tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam. He will get that anusandhana. That means he will be able to recall. Recall means what? Not recalling that the past janmas, whatever maturity level, whatever jnana level, vairagya level you got it, that automatically appears in your life, in your heart. Automatically appears in your heart. Therefore, purvakruta samskara. Then he will continue. Okay? Bahutaram samsiddha. Then he will continue his Nididhyasana further in order to complete that Nididhyasana and get complete jnanam. Okay? This is the 43 shloka. Then I think there is a time. Yeah, there is another 5 minutes. We'll complete in another 5 minutes. We'll take another shloka. Okay? Purvabhyasena tenaiva havasho. So, because of his previous samskara, his mind will automatically, unconsciously will go to the same Nididhyasana. Even if sometimes the circumstances are not suited to you, his mind will automatically get pulled towards that Nididhyasana only. Automatically it will go. Therefore, avashopisan, without making any conscious sankalpa. That's why some people naturally get inclination towards moksha, towards jnanam in his childhood alone. Some people ask, what made you to take to your spiritual life? See, some people take to spiritual life because of some event happened in life. Somebody inspired you, somebody touched you, some serious shocking event, somebody passed away, some suffering happened. That has turned your life to spirituality. Okay? For some people, some event happened, that event has shocked him, influenced him and changed him. Arjuna, take the life of Arjuna. Arjuna came with an intention to wage a war. Okay? He came with a very good confidence to wage the war and get back his kingdom, because Duryodhana is a wicked fellow, he has snatched their kingdom. Arjuna came with an intention. After looking at them, you see ultimately Bhishma, Drona and our own people, Pandavas are on this side, their own relatives on that side, Bhishma, Drona, all respectable, lovable people are there. Then he found, my God, killing all these people, I'm going to get kingdom. Am I to get the kingdom by killing all these people? They said, this is too much. So I don't want this kingdom. He has changed it. So that event has changed Arjuna. But there are some people like Shuka, Vyasa, Veda Vyasa and Shuka. As they are born, they had that natural spiritual inclination. No event was required to change their mind like in case of Arjuna. In case of Arjuna, a certain event has to happen. Then that will influence him and it will change him to get Vairagyam. No event has helped them. No event was required. No serious event was required. Because right from childhood, he has that spiritual inclination. See. Therefore, Veda Vyasa, Shuka, and they are automatically. If you ask Vedavyasa, what made you to come to spiritual life? You ask Shuka, and you know what they answer? I never thought that somebody taught me, some event happened. Even Prahalada was told the same thing. Even Hiranyakashipu asked, hey, who taught you all these things? Prahalada says, nobody need to teach me. Is this bhakti, Bhagavad bhakti, Sharanagati, Vairagyam, selflessness, does anybody need to teach me these things? It is natural, he says. That means I don't need. That means it has been there right from childhood. When I became conscious, a small boy, when he became conscious at the age of 3 or 4 years old, he started feeling that natural Vairagyam and bhakti for Bhagavan, that's all. No event is required, no teaching is required, no particular event. And Hiranyakashipu thinks that somebody is teaching him, somebody is spoiling my boy, somebody is brainwashing him. And he calls the gurus of the Gurukula, hey, why are you teaching my boy and spoiling him? And they say, no, we never taught Vishnu Bhagavan, we never taught Vairagyam, we never taught him Bhakti, we are only teaching Laukika Vidya, we are only teaching Artha Shastra, Chanakya's Artha Shastra, how to rule the kingdom, how to make money, and respect your father Hiranyakashipu as a great man. We are only teaching this alone. Rajare, we are teaching, O king, we are teaching only these things. We have not taught him any Bhakti or Vishnu or anything. And he says, tell me true, is it true? Are you really telling the truth? Or you are doing one thing and telling me others? He put a spice in the Gurukula. For a few days, the spice also told them, Rajare, they have been teaching Laukika Vidya, Artha Shastra alone. Laukika Vidya alone, how to rule kingdom, how to make money, and how to get married, and how to become all. Only these things they were teaching. Niti Shastra, Dharma Shastra, that's all. They never taught Bhakti, Vairagyam, Bhagavan and all those things. Then he understood, again he calls them Guru. Tell me, are you tell? No, we have not taught him at all. Then how does he get these things? We don't know. It is his natural buddhi. Rajare, what can we do? O king, what can we do? This boy's mind is like that. However we try, he is unable to turn him to the worldly life. His mind always thinks of this thing. We don't know how he got it. Then Hiranyakashipu also wonders, how does he get it? How does he get it? Do you need any event? Like Prahalada, like Vyasa, like Shuka. It comes because of Purva Janma. They were already almost Jnanis, nearing one small step. Maybe few days have they lived there. Maybe 1 week, 10 days, if they lived their Janma, they would have become Jnani in the previous Janma alone. Maybe just a few days left out and then the body passed away. They could not complete that Nididhyasana. A small thin layer was obstructing, that's all. In this Janma, it just slipped automatically, it gone. By few days they got it. They got it, that's all. Nobody need to teach them. Therefore, Purvabhyasena ten. That Purvabhyasa automatically pulls him into this Janma. Okay? Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate avashopi saha. Avashaha andre automatically, without any conscious effort, without any parents' help. You see, Hiranyakashipu, did he try to make Prahalada a bhakta or a jnani? Nobody tried. Nobody consciously taught him. Thing just automatically happened. Avashopi, helplessly means without any conscious attempt, things are happening. Naturally inclination. Nobody did anything to him. It's a wonder. Then he says, so naturally he will be disinclined into the worldly pleasures, money, status, etc. Even before he takes sannyasa, he lives like sannyasi. Because of the Purajanma samskara. Because of this thing, Purajanma, highest vairagya, pure interest only in Brahman, without any teaching, without any diksha, he already lives like sannyasi. Now he says, Bhagavan Krishna says one more sentence, Jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Here in the Bhashya, let us go to Bhashya. In Bhashya, Shankaracharya adds one more point. This is interesting, but can we tell? I think time is up. It is 1 hour. This point takes more time. I think we will stop with this alone. The shloka, 44th shloka, even in that there is one more trick in it, one more obstacle that I shall tell you. In Bhashakara himself is touching very interesting point, because we see some people like that. I think we'll tell you in the next Sunday. It's a long gap, 1 hour, one week, but what can we do? The Gita is only one. In English Gita we are doing only weekly once. We'll do it in the next class. This 44th shloka, Nakrutam Chet, this Bhashya Vakya is very important. We'll discuss next class. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.